What is your American dream?
My dream for America is to be loving towards each other. I know it's corny and cliched, but really just look at each other with love and compassion.
America needs to become a place for everyone. It needs to become inclusive. It needs to become a place where every human being is respected, where we do not work to dehumanize, we do not work to exclude, see the value in each of us. I mean, we all are immigrants. We all bring our unique perspectives and abilities, and I can't imagine an America without that.
My dream for America is to be able to be the beacon that it says it should be, a place where we can all live in dignity. We need to be able to protect families and children, have universal health care, universal school. So this is my vision of America.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Oh, hello everybody! Happy Purim! Shag Samach! Which means happy holiday in Hebrew! I speak a little bit of a lot of languages! Ha 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 ha! Anyway, it's Purim today, and for those of you who don't know, it's a Jewish holiday that celebrates good food and giving to charity. So guess what? Brad gave to his favorite charity, me! Haha! Look what he got me! Flowers and a big old Purim basket. Brad said I have to share it with the team now, and I will. I always share. But first, let's investigate what's in this basket, because I think the one who brings it in gets first dibs. Let's check it out, squad. What's inside? What's inside this lovely Purim basket? Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I'm Brad's favorite charity. Well, I gotta tell you, this is just the bee's knees. Look at all this stuff. Oh my God. Ooh, mini chocolate chips, chestnuts, Hamantashen, grape juice. Oh my goodness. What is this? It's pretzel crisps, a whole bag. Oh my gosh, Purim is officially going to be my new favorite holiday. Any holiday where I get pretzel crisps, a whole bag as a gift, is a good holiday in my book. Gimme, gimme. Got the pretzels. I got the pretzels. Wow, I'm so psyched. What a great Thursday. Well, I'll let the whole team know about the Purim basket now. But first, did you miss yesterday's episode of Bradshaw Live? Well, in case you did, Jonathan went out on the street to find out what people know about mass deportation and how it would affect America in another edition of Immigration 101. It was really, really interesting. I didn't know about the statistics, and neither did a lot of people Jonathan spoke to. And now, everybody, it's the time you've all been waiting for. It's time for Bradshaw Live, starring Brad, Bernstein, and co-host Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias. Watch this. Hey, everybody, there's a Purim basket here. Come and get it, come and get it. But that's this. See you guys later.
Hello, everybody. March 21st, a Thursday. Yo-Yo Elias finishing his post on Instagram.
Yes.
Was that what you were doing?
I was.
Were you?
How'd you
I
know?
took it because you post so much on Instagram that I assumed what else would you be looking at your phone. Hello, everybody. And it's raining where we are here in New York City. I hope
It is.
if you are in New York City, you're staying dry. And if you are somewhere else, it's not raining on you. I have to say hello to Duane, Watson, Cassandra, M. Cassandra. It's Cassandra M. Cassandra.
Yes.
Or Cassandra M. Cassandra.
Or
Hola,
Cassandra
she
M.
says.
Cassandra.
Abigail Taylor Watson. Nezzy wants more. Did we ever find out what Nezzy actually wants?
She just wants more.
Just more. Okay.
Yes.
Carol. Did we ever find out why Carol Anderson is a tiger?
Yes.
We've met her. We know.
That's
Hello, Carol. Unique. Terry Unique. Have we ever found out why Terry's so unique?
No.
We should find out. LMAC, hello, how are you? And Jessica Levy Joelli also really just wants to be called Joelli. Just call me Joelli.
Nah,
right?
I still like Jessica Levy.
Jessica Levy. Misha Francis, Pauline Williams, how are you? Shay Murray says, squad up, everybody. Wendy Brown says, hello, beautiful people. And who else we have here? Aretha Sasri Simmons says, I like this lady. What lady does she like? There's no lady here. Unless she's talking about one of the Brad Squad people. Because our lady is MIA. But
Yes.
I am told, hopefully, fingers crossed, she'll be back Monday.
Woo!
All right. And
her.
that you know who our lady is.
Belgium Kim.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me confused? You forgot her already?
No, I said
Okay.
hope so.
All right. Cordella Douglas, how are you? Marjorie Thompson, Unique Sterling, Sasha Ford, how are you? Marjorie Thompson says squad up to everybody. And who else we have here? Did I miss anybody? Lisa Bling Rose, squad up.
Yes.
Sandra Osawu, I can never pronounce her name. I'm sorry, Sandra. It's a hard name. Osayuwu Okasubor. Okiaspor.
That sounds great.
Says, hey, hashtag boss lawyer. I always
Boss
like being
lawyer,
called
we do
boss
like that.
lawyer. And Shawanda James, I think I said Cordella Douglas. And on YouTube, we can't forget YouTube. Ashley Thomas says, good evening, squad. Carol, the top cat, Tigress 2 Anderson watching on both. And Giovanna Plummer, Angie Morris, Ja Love watches every day. Tina Somwaro says, hey, Brad and Yo-Yo, good evening. Love to tune into the show always. It's so informative and you learn so much from Brad. Keep up the good work. When I get time, I even always rewatch. I don't miss out.
There you go.
Comment of the day. Comment of the day. And Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, we have a lot of low viewership today. It's a lot of low viewership right now. It's low.
No, it's
It's
45
low.
people watching.
It's
On Facebook.
nobody thinks we fool everybody.
Right.
Jill's like, it's because people don't think we're starting on time.
We're starting on time
We started
today.
on time today. Just when you think our time is 5:45, 5:50, we throw it back at you and start at 5:30.
There you go.
Right? All right. So tell everybody how to share and tell their friends to watch us right now.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody, you guys share right now so we can get the counts up, all right? Because we have an amazing show ahead for you guys. Now, how you share on Facebook, there's a little arrow that says share. You can share it to anybody's page, Instagram, you can share it to Twitter, but most importantly, what we want you to do is share it in the inbox, okay? And interaction, we love your interaction. So comment. Say whatever is on your mind. Make sure you like, love, smiley face, sad face, mad face, whatever you want. Make sure you show it, all right? Show your emotions because we're giving you our emotions as well. All right, and now also for YouTube, copy the link and send it out, okay? We have to blast that out on a WhatsApp group or text message blast, but you could also blast it on your Instagram and your Facebook and your Twitter as well, okay? Make sure you subscribe, like it. Everybody that's watching right now, like it, because that's gonna show the world that this is an amazing show. All right, now let's go to the next segment
Called Schmoozing.
There you go.
Schmoozing. It's Schmoozing with Brad. There we go. And by the way, before we start our schmooze, Asset Lindo says, Brad Yo-Yo, where is Kimmy? Where is Kimmy? We have no idea, but hopefully she'll be back on Monday.
Where in the world is Belgium Kimmy?
Kimmy, Kim, where are you?
Oh.
Where are you? We miss you.
Oh.
We love you. Come on back.
Is that why you shaved and like got your haircut? You thought she was coming today?
I did. I said maybe she got tired of sitting next to like, an unshaven, unkept Brad. So, she's getting very big.
Yeah, you're not a
She's
bear
getting very
anymore.
big, popular Belgium Kim. So
yeah.
she's like, I can't be here and center this show.
I mean, it makes sense.
Right? Well,
Makes sense.
hopefully she'll be back on Monday. Meanwhile, back on the farm.
Yes.
And I'm talking about the Loony Farm. The Loony Farm at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Donald Trump is apparently considering, according to Politico Magazine, and they're usually on point, within the 90 days of imposing 25% increase on tariffs. Tariff is basically a tax on the manufacturer, and what do? They pass it on to the consumer. So every foreign car made outside of the United States of America, they are going to put a tax of 25%,
Wow.
according to Politico magazine. That is going to add onto the cost of the cars thousands and thousands and
Sheesh.
thousands of dollars. Now, just about everybody, according to Politico magazine, in the White House says it's a bad idea.
Right.
And that's even in the White House. And most Republicans think it's a bad idea too. Most economists think it's a bad idea because all it's going to do is lead to retaliation, and American cars and American products will be more expensive in other countries as well,
Right.
and it will actually cause a decline in economic output both in the United States and in Europe.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump doesn't really care, and Japan,
Of course not.
because he only cares about getting voted in. So he wants to go to the auto plant in Ohio and say, I saved your jobs. Make America great again. Make America great
create
again.
the problem so you could find the solution.
That is right. That is right. So auto executives say the industry is particularly anxious given that the steel and aluminum tariffs imposed by the president last year have already hurt their companies, pushing costs up and sales down. Now, what's interesting is that you think, okay, well, then a GM car or a Ford or a Chrysler is going to be less money, and a Mercedes and a BMW and a Toyota will be more money.
Yeah.
Except BMW makes most of their cars in Georgia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of foreign auto manufacturing plants in America.
So why the heck is the maintenance so
and then there's
high?
American companies that manufacture. GM Europe manufactures all their GM cars in Europe. All right. So you think that you're helping GM, Chrysler, and
But you're
Ford.
not.
You may not, depending on where the car is
actually made.
where the car is actually made. So we will see. We will see on that. Hopefully that doesn't happen. All I can say is, thank God I just leased a new car recently, so I don't have to worry about it for 3 more years.
There you go.
Hopefully Trump is not in office. But if you have to lease a new car in the next, year, you're going to be paying more
screwed.
money. You're going to be screwed.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Trump is carrying on his criticism of John McCain. You've seen that in the news. He says that he has a video of Trump who says, let's watch the video first. We have the video?
And I gave him the kind of funeral that he wanted. I don't care about this. I didn't get thank you. That's okay. We sent him on the way, but I wasn't a fan of John McCain.
So he was criticizing McCain at a rally in Ohio at a manufacturing plant that makes tanks, which is very close to cars. Okay, so he's riling up the automakers, the manufacturers in the
Right.
steel belt. He says he gave him the funeral. He didn't give him any funeral. Okay. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even invited.
I was about to say, I thought he wasn't even invited.
He wasn't even invited to the funeral. McCain says, "Don't come." That was his
Jeez.
dying wish.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine the man's dying wish is,
Wasn't-
don't come to my funeral.
Absolutely, I could imagine
Okay,
that.
my dying wish is hamburger, French fries, and a Coca-Cola, please. Preferably from Shake Shack.
Bush also say the same thing? Was it Barbara Bush or George Bush? Did one of them say?
No, Trump was at the Bush funeral, but he didn't speak.
He didn't speak.
He didn't speak. But McCain
specifically was
said,
like,
you're
no.
not allowed. Now, really, and by the way, Trump was the only living president not to attend John McCain's funeral. Now, to be clear, what Trump did was he had to sign, which was a pro forma type of thing, a letter to allow the military to transport McCain casket from Arizona to Washington, D.C. to allow him to have a military funeral. Okay? That is a pro forma type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay? So he gave basically John McCain's body a plane ride in a military plane. That's not really,
So that's his send-off.
That was his send-off, yes. Now this has been a long-running feud, okay, for a long time. And it's festered since 2015 when McCain criticized Trump for announcing Mexican immigrants are rapists and murderers and they should all be deported. That's where it started. And then Trump responded, if you remember, that he said John McCain, who famously was a war prisoner in Vietnam for 5 years, he was a squadron leader in the
Right.
Air Force, he was shot down, he was in a Vietnamese prison, he was tortured for publicity because his father was a famous politician. So they said, oh, we caught the son of a famous politician.
Right.
And he was tortured for 5 years. If he was not the son of a famous politician, they probably would have killed him.
Wow.
But the fact that he was the son of a famous politician, they kept him alive just for publicity and maybe to trade him for the future. But this
Right.
man was tortured for 5 years
And he
until
had the nerve.
until the end of the war.
Right.
He's a war hero, and Trump famously said, "Well, he got captured. My heroes are people who don't get captured." This
That's the
comes
dumbest thing that anybody
This
could
comes
say.
from a man who dodged the Vietnam War,
Right.
from a fake podiatrist, from a fake podiatrist, a fake letter from a podiatrist in Queens who said he had bunions or flat feet, or maybe a combination of the two. I forgot what was wrong with his foot.
Sick. He's just-
Bone spurs, that was it. He had bone spurs in his feet and therefore couldn't march through the jungle. And therefore he did not go to Vietnam.
Sick.
He took a $1 million loan from his father instead, which is the equivalent of about $10, $12 million in today's money.
Wow.
And he says he's self-made. He's as self-made as Kylie Jenner.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're both.
But what's interesting is that Trump's biggest supporter in the Senate is Lindsey Graham. Now, if you remember, Lindsey Graham in the confirmation hearing for the Supreme Court
Right.
was Trump's biggest supporter, and he was Kavanaugh's biggest supporter in accusing the woman who accused Kavanaugh of trying to rape her, of making up a story. Now, Lindsey Graham was John McCain's best friend. Same guy. So he tweeted yesterday, as to Senator John McCain and his devotion to this country, he stepped forward to risk his life for his country, served honorably under difficult circumstances, and was one of the most consequential senators in the history of the body. Nothing about his service will ever be changed or diminished. And Utah Senator Mitt Romney tweeted at Mitt Romney, I can't understand why the president would once again disparage a man as exemplary as my friend John McCain, heroic, courageous, patriotic, honorable, self-effacing, self-sacrificing, empathetic, and driven by duty to family, country, and God. And Senator Mitch McConnell, who is a jackass, he said, though, nicely, today and every day I miss my good friend John McCain. It was a blessing to serve alongside a rare patriot and genuine American hero in the Senate. His memory continues to remind me every day that our nation is sustained by the sacrifice of heroes. So it shows that they're all Republicans, okay, who all support Trump.
Yes.
And they're
also
all
support-
a-holes, but
they support John
they
McCain.
went against Trump on this one, and they're more in favor of John McCain, who has passed away and who has
Right.
no
It's
political
respect.
clout than Donald Trump.
How you feel? Trump feel about that?
Well,
His friends-
there's some people who think that he's doing this for just political gain. Obviously, he doesn't really care much about John McCain.
Right.
The guy's dead. It's just because he's trying to, push away the conversation from New Zealand, Muslims,
Oh, yeah.
immigration, cars,
Anything that's happening
Boeing
in this
jets,
world.
Robert Mueller, okay, all the things that's taken him down.
Right.
You know, Cohen, Manafort,
Makes sense.
Gates, all of it. And what's kind of funny in a way, you ever hear this guy George Conway? You know who George Conway is? He sounds like a comedian.
He
and
does.
and he could be a
Or he
comedian.
sounds like a host.
He could be right. He sounds like a host, like like if Brad was not here. The guest host today, George Conway. Welcome everybody, George
Yeah,
Conway.
that's a great name.
Right. But in fact, what he is he's a lawyer,
Oh.
and he's married to Kellyanne Conway. You know who
Oh,
Kellyanne
yeah.
Conway is?
Yeah.
Right. This witch.
Right.
So, did I say that?
Witch.
That was I meant which is Kellyanne
Which
Conway's
is
Kellyanne
Kellyanne
Conway's husband.
Husband.
That's what I meant to say. That's
Right.
yeah.
I got you.
So on Tuesday, he's been going after. It's very interesting because Kellyanne Conway is one of Trump's, right-hand women.
Absolutely.
Okay, she's married to a man who has been absolutely ripping apart Donald Trump on Twitter.
Really?
So you could only imagine what their dinner table conversations are like.
Wow.
So on Tuesday, George Conway tweeted images, and he's a politician, a famous lawyer in Washington, D.C., in his own right.
Okay.
So he tweeted images from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders and the text medical professionals use to diagnose mental illness, listing the characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder, and he charged that Trump is unfit and incompetent for the esteemed office you temporarily hold.
Wow.
He has been now. Trump responded in a tweet after that that George Conway is a stone cold loser. Now they've been going at it now. So Jack O'Donnell, a former Trump casino executive who has become a critic of the president, said about Conway's tweets, "I don't think that Trump is laughing at that. He takes this stuff very personally. Indeed, those who know Donald Trump, who have repeatedly declared himself a stable genius." Okay.
Donald Trump?
The people who support him say he's a stable genius, and the people like us who take what we see at face value think he's off his rocker. Okay,
Yes.
Including the husband of Kellyanne Conway,
Right.
who
Which is
is Donald Trump's right-hand woman.
Right.
Okay. Now it seems Conway's tweets did bother Trump because he did weigh in, and not only on Conway but on their marriage. He went in on their marriage. He said George Conway, often referred to as Mr. Kellyanne Conway by those who know him, is very jealous of his wife's success and angry that I, with her help, didn't give him the job he so desperately wanted. I barely know him, but just take a look, a stone cold loser and a husband from hell. Can you imagine?
That this is your president.
This is your boss. So just imagine your right-hand woman, okay? Now, I'm not saying Jilly Bean, okay, is my Kellyanne Conway because it's two different jobs, okay? But she is, right there with me, okay? Every day putting on this show.
I agree.
Okay, and Kellyanne Conway is right there with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Putting on his show.
She is.
Okay.
Low-key,
okay. I'm not
Conway.
saying she is. Okay.
You
But
guys are
I'm just
the
saying.
good of the evil.
Right. But can you imagine if I said about Jilly Bean's husband?
Right. No.
She would hit me over the head.
But not Kellyanne.
But not Kellyanne.
No, of course not.
No, Kellyanne.
They have no soul.
No soul. So Kellyanne weighed in after Trump.
What?
This is crazy. After Trump said that he is jealous of his wife's success and angry and a stone cold loser and a husband from hell. Okay, Kellyanne Conway weighed in and about her boss and said, "You think he shouldn't respond when somebody, a non-medical professional, accuses him of having a mental disorder? You think he should just take this sitting down?" So Kellyanne Conway went and supported Trump over her husband.
Are you serious?
Yes. So, and multiple White House sources said Kellyanne Conway's standing with Trump appears to remain solid, although some are worried that the ongoing controversy could compromise her effectiveness if she's confronted in every one of her frequent television interviews with her husband's scathing commentary. Either they are the most brilliant couple in the world and are playing both sides, and they come home and they laugh about this over the dinner table, or they are heading down to the worst divorce in the history of mankind.
This seems like.
Well, I mean, because they could go either way. They could be playing everybody for chumps.
This seems like.
Right.
It seems like.
Trumps are chumps.
It seems like it could be they're playing the game because everybody knows that social media, your platform is your power.
Right.
It could either be that or they just got into like a huge argument and George was just like, I don't give a F anymore. I'm about to tweet about this dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's like.
It's absolutely crazy. So
regardless of the fact, we're all getting screwed. Like we're just everybody's getting screwed.
But if in fact, because they don't seem to be getting divorced, okay? Right. If in fact, they live together every day, and they do appear. There are pictures of them going out in the evening. It's not like they're living separate lives. They do appear together at events and functions and restaurants. So they are living at least partly a life together.
I mean, that's every public figure couple as well.
Is this one of those things where they sit down and they say, you know what? This is going to be the best PR we'll ever have in our life. Feuding husbands going against Trump while I work for Trump, and I'm going to take Trump's side, and then they come home at night and then they discuss how.
Makes sense.
All right, and in the end, who's having the last laugh? They are.
They are.
And everybody, they're becoming famous over
They're
this.
getting.
They're becoming famous
they're
over
getting
this.
all kinds of opportunities from this. This is what public figures do. That's what I always say. I don't believe anything anymore.
I am so callous to all of this that I really believe that the two of them. I don't know for a fact. I actually don't know any facts about this other than what I just read.
Right.
But my radar says that they are colluding with each other. George and Kellyanne, talking about collusion with Russia, George and Kellyanne are colluding, there they are, colluding with each other to make themselves famous at everybody's expense, and they have the last laugh. That's my 2 cents on it.
I agree.
All right, with that, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, we want to get to, we have some more. 1 second here. I don't have this here. All right. Here it is. Julie says I have to get to this story.
Okay.
Before we get into our immigration questions. There's a parody going out about Devon Nunez. Now, you know who Devon Nunez is? He is he's a congressman from California. He is a staunch conservative. Some may say a racist. A Trump's whipping boy. He protects Donald Trump at every step of the way, in every hearing in Congress, oversight hearing on Trump's thievery and duplicitousness, and every hearing that says that Trump is our Manchurian candidate, which is basically Russia's stooge in the White House. I believe personally that Trump's working for some foreign government. Whoever's paying him the most at the moment. Yeah. I think he's actually working for multiple foreign governments. That's I think he's getting paid by lots of people. Him and Jared and Ivanka.
Yeah.
And I think he's a stooge in the White House. But Nunez is his whipping boy. Maybe Nunez is on the take also. I have no idea. I don't know anything. So I'm just making up conjecture. I have no facts about this. It just seems
what you believe.
It just seems so crazy what's going on right now, you know? So there's a parody on Twitter that says that the handle is Devon Nunez's mom, and the account pretends to be an imaginary cow owned by Representative Devon Nunez, and as a result, Nunez, who's very insulted about this, has sued Twitter for $250 million. The parody account at Devon Cow only has 1,200 followers on Monday, but after he sued,
of course,
it has 467,000 followers as of this morning, which surpasses Devon Nunez's full account of 395,000 followers. The cow now has more followers than Devon Nunez. And now, as of this morning, because I got to keep reading, it has more than 500,000, boasting 180,000 more followers than Devon Nunez.
Wow.
So the Devon Nunez cow Twitter account is now selling Devon cow T-shirts because he is a pig and a cow and an animal.
I can't.
Okay, and it follows and even Mr. Nunez's fellow legislators showed their support for this errant beast. Ted Lieu, a Democratic congressman from Southern California, told Mr. Nunez on Twitter to lighten up, dude.
So with you putting his name on that shirt and like selling it, can he sue that for that?
This is what the law is. Okay, you have a right to privacy. Okay, so if he was a private citizen who was not a congressman and who was not in the public domain, he was not famous. He didn't have any followers. He didn't have even if he wasn't a congressman, but he had 380,000 Twitter followers. Just like you, Yo-Yo, you have 40,000 Instagram followers.
Right.
You're in the public domain. Just like Brad Bernstein now. I have the show. I'm in the public domain.
Right.
All right? If somebody wants to make a parody of me, a fake Brad, a fake Yo-Yo, or parody me, the burden is extraordinarily high to say that they violated my right to privacy or they're taking my image, because as a public figure, you have to you under the law, you have to expect that you're going to be ridiculed, and you have a platform in which to respond to that. Okay, versus it's a much lower level if you're a private person and you don't have a platform to respond. Let's say Devon Nunez is a nobody and he's just a farmer, and all of a sudden some guy makes a Twitter account and there's 500,000 pictures of him with his face on a cow, and he's a farmer that nobody ever heard of. Well, then that's a different situation.
Got you.
Because he doesn't have that platform in which to say something otherwise. As a politician. He's going to lose that fight. Number one, because Twitter's not responsible for the content.
Yeah.
And number two, he's a public figure.
Right.
He's a public figure. All right. So, and it's a parody. So it's not even, it's a parody. You know, like years ago, there was a famous Supreme Court decision with the guy from Hustler magazine. Larry Flint.
Okay.
If you ever saw the movie Flint, America vs. Flint or whatever, and you know what Hustler magazine is, right? Dirty magazine. And he used to put pictures of politicians' faces on, men, having anal sex with other men, and would like put the face of the politician on it and publish it in the magazine. And these politicians and famous people, I forgot who it was, sued him, saying, defamation of character and invasion of privacy, and he took it all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said they didn't even get into anything, because they said you're a public figure and this is an obvious. This is obviously a parody. Nobody who reads Hustler magazine is going to believe that is you having anal sex with another man.
Right.
So meanwhile, the cow was created in August 2017. Nobody even bothered looking at this. But as soon as the lawsuit was filed, at Devon Cow even was defended on the Ellen DeGeneres show on Monday.
That's probably what got them the followers.
Yes, and Ellen's executive producer, Andy Lassner, had a call to arms and retweeted and asked everyone to retweet. That's how it became viral.
Yeah.
There was a retweet 6,252 times. And the retweet was, "Let's bring it home, America. God bless at Devon Cow."
Yeah.
I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing. I mean, it shows how the stupid the people are who run our country. So what do we have there, Jonathan? I can't even see it.
Here's a helpful diagram to explain their relationship.
Putin, Trump, Nunez. That basically sums it up.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, that's the Devon Cow account. So, I mean, that's obvious a parody. Okay, but you know what? It really goes to show the stupidity of the people, the lack of common sense of the people who run our country. Okay? This man should know.
Right.
Okay? This man should know this is a parody.
Right.
This man should know that he should ignore it. And if he ignores it, nobody would even know it existed. And now,
that's the crazy thing
and now
about
that he
it.
sued Twitter, everybody knows about this.
Right, and
he caused his own problem. He caused his own problem.
Well, that's what he gets.
All right, now we got to do something called answer your immigration questions. Can you tell everybody to please share, because nobody's watching this as far as I can see.
All right, everybody, come on now. We have to have you guys share right now on Facebook. So share it. Press that little arrow where it says share. And share it to people's pages, their Instagram, their Facebook, but also please share it in the inbox, all right? So let's everybody share right now so we can get the viewers up, because we're about to answer calls right now, all right? Make sure you also, interaction, we love the interaction, so comment, like, love, smiley face, sad face, mad face, whatever you're feeling, make sure you do that. And also on YouTube, share so we can get those counts up. We need to get the show out so we can get more people to call in and we can help everybody that we need to help. All right, and make sure you guys also like that button as well, okay? Copy the link, share it to WhatsApp, like the button, and also, please, subscribe. You have to subscribe to both channels so you can make sure you know when we start, just in case we do start on time, like at 5:30, all right? So now we're gonna go to the next segment. Call us, because Brad is gonna answer your questions.
There it is, get it answers. It says getting answers. Call me with your immigration questions.
Yes.
I don't know why you can't seem to read that.
Because, you know what? I learned from the best.
For those who don't know, I always screw it up
Right.
every time. So
And-
now I'm just calling Jonathan out because he's purposely doing
Yep.
it. All right. We have, what do we got here? We have Keisha in Seattle, Washington. Keisha.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? How are you, baby? Baby.
Hi.
I don't know why I just said that. Somebody just texted me, "Hey, baby." So I'm like, "Hey, baby. Hey, baby." Live. What can I tell you? All right. You're my baby too, Keisha. What's going on?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
A friend of mine, she got married last year, but she's in a semi-domestic violence relationship, but the husband refused to give her a divorce, but she wanted to send in her immigration stuff.
She doesn't need. She
How
doesn't
does
need.
she
She
do
doesn't.
that if
There's no requirement to be divorced.
she need-
There's no requirement to be divorced to do your VAWA case, number one. If you do get divorced, the requirement is to file it within 2 years. So as soon as you do your, when anyone comes to me with a VAWA case, I say to them, don't worry about the divorce, okay? The most important thing is do your VAWA case. The divorce will handle itself, okay? And whether or not he actually wants to give her a divorce or not, in America, in all 50 states in America, there's something called no-fault divorce. Okay, all you have to do is serve the man and say, "I want a divorce." Period. There's irreconcilable differences. You don't have to prove anything. He doesn't have to sign anything. This is not the Middle Ages.
Okay, so will she able to start her immigration process?
Yes, you
even though
can
she's
file
divorced?
the VAWA case if you are still married. You can file the VAWA case if you are divorced, as long as the divorce is within 2 years.
Okay.
Okay?
Great. Okay, that was my question. Thank you
You're
so much.
very welcome. All right, let's go to Sandina in Queens. Sandina,
Hi, how are you, Ben?
how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. I have a question. Like, I came 2016 on a spouse visa, and they gave me 2 years green card that expired last year, October 2018. So I applied again to extend my time. So they
Right, you
gave
did the
me
I-751.
yeah.
Right.
So they gave me one paper that said I have like 18 months. They extend my time like 18 months, but they
Right.
didn't give me any renew green card.
Well, okay. So the extension notice and the green card, expired green card, you put them together. That is your permanent residence status for the 18 months.
So can I travel with my
You
paper,
travel with the paper and the expired green card put together. You show
So-
both.
Okay, so it's not going to be any issue
No.
where I like
No.
want to enter in the United States, no?
You take your receipt that says travel and employment extended 18 months and your expired green card, and you travel with that.
Oh, so it's not a problem,
Not
right?
a problem.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
very
so much.
welcome. All right, let's go. Who are we going to go to here? Let's go to Henry in Stanford. Henry. Stratford. Henry in Stratford, Connecticut.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, what's up, sir?
What's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Fabulous. What's going on?
Yeah, I called yesterday,
And? What are we talking
and
about?
I followed it. I had an interview today. I followed your advice.
And?
It was, I don't know. That's why I'm calling you. They told me to look in the mail for my green card, but if anything happened, they'll contact my lawyer. But any paperwork or anything. But
Well, if they say look in the mail for your green card, I would assume that means you're approved and you're going to get your green card in the mail. Wouldn't that? I mean, did you ask them? Am I approved?
No, I didn't ask them that.
No, that would be a question to
because
ask. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
My lawyer, if anything, they will contact my lawyer.
Well, why don't you call your lawyer? Why are you calling me? Ask your lawyer what happened.
No, I'm saying my lawyer said, but I must let you know that I followed your advice.
Oh, thank you. Did it work or not work? I just want to know whether my advice is good or not.
I believe
it did.
You believe it did. I hear his wife in the background. So hopefully, all right. So let's do this. Let's pray that you get the green card in the mail, everything worked out, And if you don't hear anything within 120 days, what I'd like you to do is call me back. How's that?
Right, because they basically told him, Brad, that you told him to just tell the truth about his, whatever trouble he got in.
Right.
And he did. He was honest.
Good.
And they were like, the thing is, he couldn't find the original I-30 that we filed.
Right.
So he was just like, he needs the original. He's looking in the system and he saw that it was approved.
Right.
So he was just like, you know what, I just need to get it. And he was like, it's not our fault.
Right.
It's his fault. And he was just like, when I get everything together, I'm just going to go over it one more time. And he was just like, if we need anything from you, we'll let you know.
This is my interpretation. My interpretation is everything went well. They're missing a document. That means that basically you have two files at immigration. Okay, there's one hard file somewhere else with the I-130 in it, and there's a hard file in front of this guy in Connecticut, and they got to put the two files together. But he sees in the computer that everything's approved. He just needs the paperwork because that's how government works. It's bureaucracy. So hopefully, correct, right. So hopefully within 120 days they resolve all of this. If not, give me a call.
Okay, thank you, Brad.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, let's go to Kingley in Atlanta.
Hi, how are you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Good. I have a question for you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I got my green card in 2017, and after that, like 3 months after that, I got arrested for possession of marijuana, and the officer charged me for DUI as well. So I fought through the case, and I was convicted of reckless driving. And the possession was disposed.
Disposed or dismissed?
Was dismissed.
Okay.
So the question is, the conviction happened a year later. My question is this: can I travel? My green card is still valid.
Well, if the reckless drive, I don't know what statute you pled guilty to. Generally, reckless driving is not a crime of moral turpitude, but it could be. Could be a crime. I don't know. If you were convicted of a crime of moral turpitude within the first 5 years of your entry into the United States, then you're deportable unless it's a petty offense. I don't know. I would need to see the actual disposition. I would say, based on what you told me, my general opinion is being a bad driver is not a crime, but let's make sure you pled guilty to a traffic violation and not a criminal statute.
Yeah, I pled guilty to a lane change reckless driving.
If that's a traffic violation and you're certain it's a traffic violation and that's all it is, then you're free to travel because you don't have a criminal record.
The last question, sir, is the offense. Does it matter to the immigration? Because it's a possession offense.
The only thing that matters to immigration is if the charges indicate that you were trafficking in drugs. So unless your initial charges were trafficking in drugs, the initial charges don't matter. So if the charges were you possess some small amount of marijuana, that's not being a drug trafficker, that's possessing a small amount of marijuana for your own use, the charges were dropped, you pled guilty to a traffic violation, then what were you found guilty of? You were found guilty of being a bad driver.
Okay, I would have to send you the disposition. I would get consultancy.
Yes, that would be a smart thing.
But I was placed on probation. Does it make it a...
Okay, I think the smart thing for you would be to hold on, have a consultation, get us up all your dispositions. Let's make sure that we're all talking about the same thing before you travel and have a problem. Okay, but it sounds to me, if I had to take my best educated guess is you're okay. You want my 100% solid opinion, we would need to have a consultation.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second. All right, let's go to Duane in Tampa, Florida. Duane.
Hi, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
What's going on?
I just have a quick immigration question. What happened is I got a removal proceeding case pending, but my I-130 was approved. But my question is, do I have to do to get the case removal proceeding case terminated?
Okay, the I-130 is based on marriage to a U.S. citizen?
Correct, yes.
And how did you come to the United States?
On a H-2B visa.
And why are you in removal proceedings?
Well, because I was married to my first wife, and she withdrew the paperwork first.
Okay.
But the lawyer that I got, I went to the interview, and he told me don't answer any questions. So I did not answer any questions. So they terminated the first case. So my current wife, refiled a new I-130, so it got approved. But I still got the removal proceeding case pending. So
all right. So what you need to make a motion to calendar your removal case as quickly as possible. Meaning that calendar, it means go before the judge as quickly as possible. You would make a motion to do that. Your lawyer should make a motion to do that. And when you go before the judge, you say, here, judge, I got this I-130 approved. I don't have a criminal record. I made a legal entry into the United States. Let's terminate proceedings and just allow me to file an adjustment. And the judge will be happy to do that.
So there's, because the fees that was brought to me was kind of a little bit high. Is there anything I could do on my own?
No. I mean, yes. I mean, but, you are in deportation, sir. And I don't know who your lawyer is and what fees you're being charged, but you are in deportation. That means the government wants to kick you out of the country. That means that you will never live with your wife again, and maybe your economic opportunities will be substantially less. To me, to make sure that you can live with your family, live with your wife, and have the best economic opportunity, to me, I would spend some money to do that. That would be a smart thing to do.
Yeah. So that's the first thing to motion to terminate?
No, motion to calendar, and then you request to terminate so you can adjust. But let me tell you something. If you have to call me on this show to find out what you need to do, I can guarantee you that if you try to do it on your own, you're going to F it up. And then you're going to call me from whatever... I'm telling you the truth. And you're going to call me from whatever country you're in or whatever jail you're in, and your wife's going to call me and say, oh, my God, look what happened. So, I mean, you don't want to...
I'm not going to do it on my own.
Let me finish. If you go to a lawyer and he's too much money, go to a second lawyer, go to a third lawyer, go to a fourth lawyer. It's very easy.
How much would you charge me
$10 million.
Get this?
$10 million. Maybe $20 million. $25 million. Yo-yo, $20 million, $25 million. I'm serious. $20 million.
Can I get a cut?
You can get a cut. Everyone gets a cut. No, I don't know what I would charge you. Hold on one second. Ay. All right, what would I charge you? Let me tell you how. In all honesty, let me. It's not. I don't sell a refrigerator here. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't sell a car where you say, okay, here's the product, and this product costs me this much money to make, and this is what it costs me to market this product.
Right.
And this is what my profit margin has to be. That's when you are selling widgets or cars or whatever. All I am doing is selling my brain. That's all I can sell. Okay? So I can't tell Duane, as much as I wanted to, how much it would cost. Why? I don't know.
Because you need to know how much work you're putting in.
Exactly. So three things go into fees. Mm-hmm. And this is for all immigration lawyers because they're charging a flat fee.
Right.
Okay? Most lawyers charge by the hour. Okay? So when you charge by the hour, lawyers want to drag cases out forever.
Of course.
Because it doesn't pay for a lawyer to finish a case fast because then he's not getting paid much.
Right.
Okay? On the other hand, which is why you get a lot of bad results with immigration lawyers. I'm not saying all immigration lawyers, but you hear it all the time. It's because an immigration lawyer charges a flat fee. Mm. So whether he works 2 hours on your case, or she, or 10 hours on your case, or 50 hours on your case, he or she is going to make the same amount of money. So it's the opposite. Mm. It's the opposite. So an immigration lawyer's incentive is to do the least amount of work for the most amount of money. Mm-hmm. Do the minimal, not the maximum.
Right.
When you're paying a lawyer by the hour, the lawyer wants to do the maximum, even though maybe it's just the minimum, because the more hours he churns out, the more money he's going to make.
Right.
So that's why you find a lot of times that people get bad results with immigration lawyers. I'm not saying all immigration lawyers. It's because an immigration lawyer says, okay, it'll be $2,000, Duane. That's what I'm going to charge you. I know nothing about your case. It's going to be $2,000.
You can't go into it blind like that.
Right. So now the lawyer got $2,000, and the lawyer's like, oh my God, this is 50 hours of work here.
Right.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to write this motion to terminate on my Dunkin' Donuts napkin.
Wow.
You know, and then I'll hand it to my secretary to type up.
Right.
I'm not saying that ever happened. I'm just, you know,
you never know, though.
You never know. So for me, maybe somebody else is different, and there's immigration lawyers who just advertise fees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know an immigration lawyer that does free consultations, and the doesn't even let the person sit down for the consultation. What do you need? You're married? Here's the fee. Okay, but for me, I want to meet the person, and I got to determine everything that's going on with them, with their case in their life. I have to determine how difficult the level of difficulty of this case. Is it an easy case? Is it a hard case? Is it a case where I'm going to really need to use all of my brain and resources to figure this out? Or is this something that I can do blindfolded with my hands tied behind my back? Now, just because I can do it blindfolded with my hands tied behind my back doesn't mean it still won't take me 50 hours.
Right.
Okay? And just because it's going to use all my brain power, and this is a very difficult case that requires a lot of logical thought on, go to A, B, C, and D, doesn't mean it's going to be 50 hours. Maybe it's only 5 hours.
Right.
Okay? So we have to look at the level of difficulty. We got to look at a number of hours that I estimate it's going to take, and the number of hours that the paralegal is going to work. And then I need to meet the person, okay? Because there are some people who just need their hands held all the time. And there are other people who have a much thicker skin.
Right. And
they don't need their hands held. Because the person who needs their hands held, and I'll know this, okay, is going to call every day.
Right.
And that's my time. That's part of what, goes into figuring out what this is going to cost.
Right.
So when Duane says, how much, I have no idea until you have a consultation.
Well, now everybody knows, so please
so
don't
that's
ask
how,
that
that's
question
how,
again.
That's how I determine
get
it.
that whole thing
right?
again.
I'm sorry that was boring to you. Jabeo in Plainfield, New York.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. I have a question. Actually, I've been following the show for a very long time, and I just decided, okay, today I was going to call for the first time.
Okay.
So I went for my interview. That's a green card interview. It's based on marriage at Buffalo. So basically, we were separated, and that was the first interview. So the immigration officer came, he took me in, and then he started asking questions. He asked me about how I came in. I actually came with an F1 visa. So when he asked, but I didn't get to go to school because I had a financial problem. So it was like, oh, you didn't go to the school, you didn't. So after like...
Well, let me ask you a question. You came on a student visa. Was there ever a day that you went to school, or you came on a student visa and you never showed up to the school?
No, I didn't show up to the school.
Never for day one?
No.
Okay, so then that's not a fine. I'm telling you the truth. Because the school would not have accepted you if at least you didn't pay the first semester. They didn't accept you and say, come pay after you show up here. So the first semester was paid. So you really had no excuse not to show up other than, I'm telling you how life is.
No.
Okay? Other than it was your predetermined intention to get a visa to come to America to work and not go to school, because that's what the government thinks, and that's why you were separated.
Okay, so but I didn't pay the first semester. Yes. So after that, then he went into the interview. He asked me everything, then he called my wife. He asked me all the questions, and my wife, after we finished, he asked my wife if there was any questions. So she asked, how long is it going to take? So he said that from how the responses are very consistent, that he has no reason not to grant the green card. Then he said, but he didn't believe, because he asked me if I work. I said no. So So I suppose my wife has taken care of everything. So I came here 2017 and we got married 2018. So he said he doesn't have reason not to grant the green card.
She never went to school.
Because but I never went to school.
Right. That's why. Because they're going to say, so this is what's going to happen most likely. Okay? I can almost assure you, but maybe you're lucky and you skirt it. I can almost assure you that they will approve the I-130 and say that this is a bona fide marriage and deny your adjustment for misrepresentation and fraud. And then you're going to need to do a fraud waiver. I can almost assure you that's what's going to happen. All right? So hold on 1 second.
Okay.
All right? Let's go to Sonia in the Bronx. Sonia.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I am an American citizen, and I married someone in Jamaica and brought them here in 2017.
Right.
He moved out in April for 2 days, and then he moved out in August of 2018. And I haven't. He have not moved back since. However, he's telling me that I'm running up his blood pressure. He said he wasn't happy here or whatever the case may be, right? And he left. But then he is asking me if I can give him his green card. I'm not sure. I don't think he married me for love.
Okay, Sonia.
I don't know what steps to take.
All right, so this is the steps to take. Okay? This has nothing to do with a green card. Okay?
Right.
This is you thinking of all the things that he did. Did he marry me for love? Because this, by the way, this goes through everybody who's a U.S. citizen. Okay.
Right.
Thinks at one point, does this person love me, or did this person just marry me for a green card? Everybody thinks that at some point.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But you have to look at the totality of all of his actions. You can't just look at one action where he says, you got his blood pressure up. Okay, maybe truly you got his blood pressure up. Maybe he truly did come here and he loved you, but you got his blood pressure up. I don't know. I'm not there, and he had to leave.
I know you're not here.
Right,
he
right,
left Jamaica with a high. He left Jamaica with his blood pressure high. This is something
so he's an
he has
anxious
been
person.
dealing with even before.
Okay, so he's an anxious person. Okay, number one. Okay, under no circumstances would you ever file for him when you don't live together. It's not a bona fide marriage. You're not going to do it. Okay, so that's number one.
Right.
Okay. Number two, maybe he loves you. I mean, I'm sure there's evidence. Okay, if you think about your relationship, I am sure there is evidence that says he loves you. Okay. I'm also sure that there's evidence that says maybe he doesn't. You don't know for sure.
Right.
You don't know for sure. Okay, but I'm sure in every relationship it's like that. Okay, and what you need to do is you need to have a heart-to-heart talk with him, and
he's not trying to talk to me. He said he's not.
Then he doesn't get a green card. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and the reason why is you can't have it both ways. You can't say to my wife, file for me, sponsor me for a green card, but I'm not going to talk to you. Wife,
and then I am aware that he hired a lawyer.
Wife, file for me, but I'm not going to live with you. Okay? Because, by the way, he's asking you to break the law because you're not even in a bona fide marriage at this point.
I told him that. I said to him, I'm not lying to immigration. That's
of course
what I'm
not.
telling you.
Right. So what
I told him that.
So what I would suggest to you is, because I'm sure there's evidence that says he loves you, and maybe there's evidence that not, or maybe he loved you more then than now, or I don't know. Okay, you have to separate your emotion and just think logically, of all your incidences and everything, and but the only way is for you to both come to an understanding, and it's not going to be an understanding of, this is how I feel, this is how you feel, because you could go on 10 years about, your feelings. It's really about, this is something that you do, this is a behavior that you do that causes me to have high blood pressure and make me run. Okay, so I prefer you don't do it. And then you're going to say, you know what? I need to know that you're going to be there for me. I need to know that when I come home at the end of the night, that, our biggest argument's going to be who takes out the trash. Okay? Because I don't want to live,
Right.
I don't want to live where we fight all the time. Okay? So,
Right.
so, you have to have some empathy for me too. And if he's not willing to, and he's not, then this marriage don't work, and he's not getting a green card. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Right, but is he able to get it in other way? Like
He can claim extreme emotional abuse, whether or not
and he could get it through that, even though it's not true.
it may not be true. There's a lot of people who make it up, and there's a lot of people who it's true. It's for the immigration service to decide. You didn't do anything to him. I don't know.
I didn't do. No, I am being honest with you because this is who I am.
Right.
I didn't do anything to him.
Right.
I just feel that before he came here, he was telling me about that immigration sent him information to tell him about domestic violence. I don't know if it's true because I didn't read it on the website. I did his whole paperwork myself, so I don't know if he saw it or I told him that. But I ignored the conversation because I said to him, why would you think about those things? He said he was just reading about it. So I don't know if he come here with intention.
He very well may have. Your head is saying some valid things. He may have, but you don't know for sure. But the fact that he doesn't want to come try to work it out says a lot too. In my opinion.
Yeah, it says a lot.
Yes.
It says a lot.
Right.
And the thing is that I just wanted to know if he go ahead and tell the lie that I emotionally abused him, would they grant him the green card and have this on my name?
Well, it's nothing going to be on your name. It is no strike against you, but he could get a green card that way. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to say.
Okay,
right.
Because
it's no strike against you. So just because somebody accused you of extreme emotional abuse doesn't mean A, you'll ever know about it. B, it's ever going to come back. You're going to go apply for a job, and someone's going to say, Sonia, you're not being hired here because so and so accused you of extreme. Nobody knows. It's a secret thing.
Right.
So it never comes back to harm you.
But is there a case scenario where immigration would reach out to me for evidence or anything?
No, you are out of
it. Would he be able to use the evidence he have? Because
I don't know what evidence he has.
Messages.
I don't know what he has.
Text messages.
So then,
I'm saying,
this is what he's probably going to do. Okay. My guess is he has text messages from you where you're fighting with each other, and he says, "Look what this woman does." And then he's going to go to his psychiatrist because he has a lot of stress, and the psychiatrist says he has a lot of stress because of this woman. That's his case. Whether or not that's extreme emotional abuse, I have no idea. I don't know what he's going to say, but that's what he's going to do.
And he could get it with that.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But from your perspective, you have to worry about the present. You can't worry about the future, what he may or may not do. Okay?
Right.
Because if you worry about the future, what he may or may not do, you're going to eat yourself up. Worry about
And I understand that.
Right. Worry about the present moment, and in the present moment, you have a situation where you and your man are living apart, and you either say to him, "Let's work it out." Okay, and working it out means you come back and live, and we're going to discuss what behaviors and what things we do that annoy the hell out of each other, and we're going to see if we can be empathetic to each other and not do it, so we can live together, because that's a realistic thing that you can change immediately.
Right.
Okay, versus going to to psychiatrists about what your mom did when you were 2 years old. Versus I don't want to come. I don't want to deal with. If he doesn't want to deal with you, then he doesn't get a green card. That's how life is.
He doesn't want to deal with me, and I'm not forced. I personally not forcing him to deal with me.
Right.
What I'm asking you, the question I'm trying to ask is, can I apply for a legal separation from him?
Yes, you could apply for a divorce from him.
Okay. So I can do that.
You can do that, yes.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you so much for your time, and you have a great...
Okay. Oh, that was my fault. LaToya in Alabama.
Hey.
What's up?
Brad, quick
How are you?
I'm good. So I filed for my to remove my condition January.
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't get nothing in the mail. I haven't heard but nothing from nobody. But the thing is, I'm working. I'm like, should I be worried about losing my job?
No, because you're a lawful resident. As long as you filed to remove the conditions, you're a lawful resident for every day. You should have gotten some sort of receipt notice back since January.
No, I haven't
Okay.
get back nothing.
How did you pay for it?
By money order.
Okay, go trace that money order, make sure it was cashed, and if it was, then go down to immigration and get a temporary stamp in your passport.
No, I got a text message said they received my file and I should look for something in the mail.
Okay, well then you didn't get something in the mail, so then go down to immigration and get a stamp in your passport because it's 4 months. You need something to prove you're legal, but you've been a permanent resident the whole time. You just have no proof of it. So whatever they sent you probably got lost in the mail. So then just go down to your local immigration office and get some sort of stamp in your passport.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
All right, man.
All right. All right. Let's go to Sheridan or Sharadine in Brooklyn. Sheridan,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. And yourself?
Good. Sheridan.
Yes, Sheridan.
Sheridan. I was right. Okay. What's
Yes.
going on?
Hi, I have a situation where my brother-in-law, he came here without inspection, came to Canada without inspection.
Right.
He have a daughter now who's a U.S. citizen. Would she be able to sponsor him?
Well, if the daughter's 21, yes, but he entered without inspection, so hopefully either the daughter's in the military or former military, or he's 245I, but other than that, he's not getting a green card.
But would the daughter be able to sponsor him?
I just answered the question, but maybe I'll do it a little
I didn't
slower.
hear.
Okay. The daughter's over 21?
Yes.
Okay. He entered without inspection, which means he's ineligible to adjust his status here, unless the daughter's in the military or former military, or he had something filed in the system before April 30th, 2001, or either the case.
No.
Does he have a mother or father who's a resident or citizen here?
No. His girlfriend is a citizen. Would he be able to marry her?
I'm asking questions. I know the daughter's a citizen. We got that fact. The answer is no, the daughter cannot help him because he can't adjust here, and if he goes home, he has a 10-year bar, and he has no ability to get a waiver.
Okay.
All right. So
but I said his girlfriend.
Girlfriend can marry him, who's a resident or citizen, and then he can get a green card through a provisional waiver.
Okay, so if he get married to the girlfriend, he would be able to get it?
Yes. Are you the girlfriend?
No.
Oh, too bad. Sounds like a good guy. What do I know? All right, take care. All right, let's go to Darian in Greensboro, North Carolina. Darian.
Hello.
What's going on?
Maybe I fall asleep.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I must be really boring.
No.
Wow. Everyone says I'm all fun, and boy, Darian calls out, "You're boring. I'm sleeping."
No, it's not that. I'm tired.
I know. I'm only kidding. What's going on?
Yeah, I have a little problem. My husband filed for my son, but it's not his son. But it's like 6 years now. So the paperwork come out last year.
Wait. Let's take a step back because he's filed for his son, but it's not his son. What does that mean?
Okay.
Filed for her son.
Oh, your son.
Yeah, my son, but he's not his son.
That's fine. He's your stepson. Okay. How old's your stepson?
Yeah.
How old's your son?
My son is 24 now.
Okay.
But when he filed for him, it was like 2021.
And how long you been married?
I've been married like 7 years, but we're not together anymore.
Okay.
So his paperwork come out and everything. I asked him to do the after data support, but he would not do it for me. Mm-hmm. So that's the only problem I have with the after data support.
Well, you have a second problem because A, he has to give an affidavit of support, and B, because you don't live together, he has to show that he has an independent relationship with your son. That he's met him, that he cares for him, he sends money, whatever it is.
He cares.
So, but you can't. But if you can't put a gun to a guy's head, or I guess some people do, but for the most part, that's illegal or in every part that's illegal. But he has to give an affidavit of support. There's no way around it.
Oh, so you don't have to give it, right?
If he doesn't give it, it's the end of the case. He must
That's
give
the
it.
end of.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. All right. All right, let's go to Anthony in Broadway. Anthony. 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 Tony.
Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Tony.
Montana.
All right, goodbye, Tony. He was predisposed, Tony.
Yeah.
He was predisposed.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Shanice in New Brunswick. Shanice.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. So I applied for my green card through marriage. So that's marriage green card. I don't remember what it's called. But the thing is that I was arrested for what was that, in probably 2014 for shoplifting. But I went to court and I can't remember what happened, but I didn't do jail time or anything. I was just given a ticket, and then I went to court. But the thing is that when it happened, because I was so scared, I didn't talk to the officer. It was like the what you call those, the LP.
Okay, so your question is this going to affect you?
No, not yet. Hold on. So the whatever you call it, the security guard, he asked me my name, but I didn't tell him my name. It was my friend, but she didn't. She gave my my alias.
Right.
She gave my alias, my alias first name, but my correct last name, and I didn't say nothing because I was just crying and angry. And when I got the pink slip, I went home, but I showed up to court, and I guess the judge said it since no, not the judge. What
is your question? What is your question?
No, the defendant was said that
tell me what the question.
It's my first offense.
Tell me what tell me what the question is, and then I'll ask you if I need to know any more.
Okay, so the question is, when they asked on the letter, on the application, if you have ever, I ticked yes, but I can't get a court disposition because it wasn't my first name, it was my alias.
Correct. Okay, the answer is yes. You were arrested, and you're gonna need to hire an attorney to get that court disposition. So when you are arrested and need a disposition and it's not in your name, the only one who's getting it is a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's what you need to do. All right?
And you got, okay, I'm sure you guys deal with that.
Yep, I got lawyers here. Hold on one second. All right, Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias.
Yes.
We got to do something. I have my pen here. This is very good to have a pen.
Why?
Because there's a lot of news here. And so when I'm reading through it, I could check off, ooh, yes, no, yes.
I've never seen you do that.
I'm good. I did it today.
Really?
Yes. I liked it. We're going to do something we call right now, though. I don't need to check anything off. Jonathan needs to check it all off. Social media check-in.
All right, our first one comes from Sharon saying, hey, Brad, I have a question. Do I have to send to USCIS the original copy of my dismissed case from prosecutor? I don't have charges or arrests.
Yes.
All right. Giovanna Plummer says, can a naturalized U.S. citizen be deported?
No, but they can lose their naturalization if they got it fraudulently.
Okay. Kunli says, will USCIS deny your green card testing positive to hepatitis B?
Yes.
Okay. Ken Kibbett says, Brad, following up about yesterday's question about VAWA cases, getting green cards, can you explain more in detail? Did you mean that the people filed last year in 2018 before VAWA ended will get processed, or what? And then he said this year's applicants will have to wait for its extensions. I'm hoping this makes sense.
Yes, it does. This is the story. If you had your I-360 approved before December, whatever the last date of VAWA was, December, there was some date in December. You got the I-360 approved, your adjustment will go through, they're processing it. If you have a pending I-360, they're going to continue to process it, but they're going to hold off on filing, on sending an approval until VAWA is extended. Why? They can continue to process it because even though the law says they can't issue an approval, this program has been funded through September 30th. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to say there was a third, but I think I got it both covered.
No, you got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a third.
Oh.
If you haven't filed a VAWA yet, then you got to wait for the extension.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Okay.
All right.
Sherry Williams says, hey, Brad, I asked a couple days ago about filing for the travel documents, but do I have to pay for filing for it separately?
No. If it's your first one based on adjustment, it's free.
Johnny FC says, hey, Brad, squad, one question. My husband is filing for his citizenship, and there's a question asking about the status of his wife. What should his response be? I have overstayed my visa.
The response is, where's your spouse? USA. New York. You don't have to give, one Main Street with the zip code and the apartment and the telephone number, and I'm home between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. You can come visit me every day. But you can say New York, New York, or, Bronx, New York, or whatever. It's fine, but you tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Don DV says, hey, I'll be filing for my mother who overstayed her visa. I have a question about the I-864. I was not working in 2016 and 2017, but filed joint taxes with my wife. I'm back now in workforce as a part-time for a year now.
Well, you're going to have to file sign an I-864. Your wife, hopefully she's helping, will sign an I-864A because she did a joint tax return for the last 3 years. And hopefully your joint tax return is based on your wife's income, because the I-864A is additional household member's income. Between the two of you, hopefully that's enough.
Okay, so the wife can be the co-sponsor.
No, she's actually additional.
She's just the
additional household income. You can put all the people who live in the house together on one I-864. So the petitioner signs the I-864, and everybody who lives on one Main Street, New York, can do an I-864A. That's one affidavit of support.
But
because the affidavit of support comes from the petitioner and the petitioner's household. And then if that's not enough, Jonathan, because I was going to answer your question, then you can go to your neighbor who lives at 2 Main Street and get a second household from there.
Gotcha. All right, Anderson Smith says the offense or charge and conviction of a moral turpitude act, which can result in deportation within the first 5 years of being in the U.S. Does this offense apply to crimes in the U.S. only or in other countries? For example, if one travels out of the U.S. to another country and commits an offense of moral turpitude.
The crime is anywhere in the world.
So immigration will
Correct.
know of it
Correct.
and consider it as
Yes.
deportation.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, you can't go and commit your crimes outside of the United States and then come back and say, I'm innocent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Anderson Smith also asks, is VAWA applicable to same-sex messages?
Yes.
In other words, can someone...
Same-sex marriages, yes.
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 Okay. So they can apply for
Same.
lawful residence?
Correct.
Okay. Elaine says, Brad, I want to know, my petitioner is going to have a biometric. How long does it take to get the results after the petitioner does his biometrics?
How long will he get his work permit?
Yes.
It's 5.5 to 6 months start to finish from the time you file. Don't worry about when the biometrics are. By the way, you can even do a VAWA case as a parent. So in other words, we never talk about it.
Yeah, from
what,
from a
so
child?
in other words, you're an adult child beats up an elderly person, elder abuse.
Wow. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
That's sad. Oof. Rachel says, hey, Brad, just to know about VAWA, speaking about VAWA, because I did my interview on February 4th and I was approved. They said they'll email me 7 to 14 days, but until they did not mail me my green card.
You got to wait for the extension.
George Diver says...
Unless the I-360 was approved and this was your adjustment, then you should get your green card. So I'm not sure what was approved.
Okay.
Right.
George says, hey, if a person of VAWA approved and traveled on advanced parole, can he be denied at the airport?
No.
Marsh B says, hello, my U.S. citizen fiance is a veteran Navy. Will it speed up my AOS?
No.
George also says, if VAWA approved, is there still a 10-year bar if traveled on advanced parole?
No.
Rose says, hi, can I withdraw a petition when it's approved and sent to the State Department? And if so, do I need to give detailed explanation as of why?
You can withdraw it. You write one sentence, please withdraw application. I am the petitioner. Here's the case number. I think that was 3 sentences.
But it was pretty good.
Yes.
Ken Kivett says, how long does it take to get a work permit receipt, not the actual work permit, just the receipt stating that they've received the application and fee?
What was the question?
How long does it take to get the receipt for the work permit, not the actual work permit?
2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Let me make sure we have more.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta refresh, guys.
Mm-hmm. First Lady Hewitt says, why do you have to go on an interview after you file 245I? What questions are asked? 245I is an adjustment interview. So it depends who's petitioning you. They want to make sure you qualify for the benefit you're seeking. And you're not inadmissible. There's a whole book of immigration laws. Lots of things. Depends on what your application is.
All right. Anderson Smith says, someone who adjusts to citizenship through naturalization, can the person leave and stay out of the U.S. indefinitely?
Yep.
Or is there a time limit?
Yep. Once you're a citizen, you can stay out forever. I have a friend who, years ago, I was on a trip in the Bahamas, and he met a young lady from Brazil. And he fell in love, and he moved to Brazil to be with her. And he's a U.S. citizen. I haven't seen him in 20 years. I still think he's in Brazil, but he's still a U.S. citizen.
I was going to ask at first, is that friend actually you, until you said he lived there?
No, not me.
All right.
Why do you think the worst of me, right?
That sounds like something
I would do. That sounds like Brad, who fell in love.
I'm staying in Brazil now, guys. We're going to start shooting out here.
Brad show from Rio.
All right, Cami Campbell says, afternoon, Brad. Question, by the way, your tan would be amazing in Brazil. Like,
I just have to learn to use aloe after, not peel.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Question, if my husband didn't submit an affidavit for my son, his I-130 won't be approved, right? Also, I have a pending VAWA case. Do I have to wait for the decision, or can I submit his follow to join the application now? I have a protective order against him.
You can file the I-824, but it's not going to be adjudicated until you're approved.
Okay.
I love Wendy Brown. I happen to agree. She says, Brad is the best on 245I. I really am. I know 245I like the back of my hand. Oh my God, I never saw that before. No, but I do.
I'm about to say, you shouldn't have said that. You should have just been like,
oh my God, I never saw that before.
Okay, Romani says, after prima facie? Is that?
Prima facie.
Prima facie. Determination, what's the next step?
Wait for an approval.
Okay, Pauline says, can a naturalized citizen who went to prison be deported?
No.
Princess says, if a person is here under the age of 21 and going to college and out of status, is there a possibility that they can get a green card?
Can Princess get a green card out of status in college? Magic 8 Ball says yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. You know what that means.
There it is. Right. Call in. Right.
Fortune says, hey, Brad, is it possible for an immigration officer to delay the approval of one's green card by saying, okay, I'll approve your case and you'll get your 2-year green card only after your security background checks clears out? How long do you think the couple should wait? And what should they do if the officer delays for too long? It says more than 4 weeks.
You file what's called a mandamus action. And yes, the officers can delay for as long as they want. That's why there's something called mandamus, where you force the government to make a decision. They can't. The government, by law, under the Administrative Procedures Act, the government cannot unduly delay the adjudication of your application. And in almost every instance of almost every application that goes in these days, the government unduly delays it. It's just a matter of how many people are going to get together and just file this and keep suing the government for undue delay.
Yeah, because I think that they feel like they're being very mischievous. Analin says, hello, work permit for I-485 not approved yet. It's been exactly 6 months. Is that normal?
6 months is about the
cutoff.
The cutoff, yeah.
So you would say,
give me a call.
Give a call. First Lady Hewitt says, why do you have to go to an interview after you file the 245I?
We answered that.
Got you.
I asked that one.
That's the one that you...
I should never do that. I know you get more mad when I ask the questions.
I was like, that sounds familiar.
Yes.
All right, we have one more. Oscar Cruz says, hey, Brad, question, background.
Yes.
My mom is undocumented, so is my dad. I'm a U.S. citizen and over 21. My grandpa on my mom's side is a naturalized U.S. citizen from 2010. At the time my grandpa filed for her, he was an LPR, which was in 1992. We've received receipt in 1993 for the I-130, but later that year it was denied because my mom got married. She was here on December 20th, 2000. So does she qualify for 245A if I petitioned because we filed the I-485 and got
245I? Yes, she does qualify. She had
even though they got denied
yes,
because she got married?
Yes, because at the time it was filed, it was approvable when filed. Doesn't mean if it got denied in the future or she didn't finish the case, but at the moment immigration received it in 1993, that was an approvable case. Fact is, it was her father who filed, and she was eligible for that benefit until she got married.
Right, and so she has 33 days to leave the country.
No, so she come see me immediately, and she should use that 245I. When you do 245I, basically what you're doing is you're taking two cases. An old case that was filed, because you had an approvable case filed before April 30th, 2001. You were physically here on December 20th, 2000, 21st, 2000, and you're using that to schedule you for an adjustment that you otherwise wouldn't be eligible for. But you're not eligible for a green card through that old application because the woman got married, the case was denied, whatever it was. But now you use your new application. My son's filing for me. So it's like a 1 + 1 = 2 type of situation. It's like a sandwich.
Right.
Put the two breads together. With that, Jonathan, I had the opportunity to speak to Morgan Simon. She's a registered financial educator. This is really important because a lot of times people, come into a couple of dollars. They don't know what to do with their money.
Right.
And they also don't know sometimes that even when they don't come into a couple of dollars and they just have a checking account at a local bank, where that money is being used and how that money is being used. And you would be very surprised to find out that money is being used for really bad things. The money in your checking account is being used to finance private jails in America. Is used to finance perhaps cigarette companies, companies that are causing environmental disasters. So Morgan launched in 2018 something called Real Money Moves, which is a national initiative that works to educate people about socially conscious investments and where to socially consciously put your money in a bank.
Hey.
Morgan joined me to explain what Real Money Moves does and what socially conscious investment means. This comes on the heel of JP Morgan Chase just announcing that it's no longer going to do business with private prison companies. It's very interesting. Let's check it out. Morgan Simon is an active investor, a registered investment advisor, and a founding partner of the Candide Group, which launched Real Money Moves in 2018. Real Money Moves is a national initiative of athletes, actors, artists, and activists who work towards educating people about socially conscious investments. Celebrities such as Natalie Portman, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Amy Schumer, Ellen Pompeo, and Alyssa Milano are just some of the many celebrities standing in solidarity with Morgan and her cause. Morgan joins me today to explain what Real Money Moves does and what socially conscious investment means. Thank you for joining me, Morgan. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brad. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit more about what Real Money Moves is.
The idea of making a real money move is about knowing what your money is doing in the world. And most of us, when we put our money in the bank, we don't know where our money spends the night. And that means that it can often be off in the world doing things that we're actually not in alignment with. So one of those things for many of us who've been outraged over family detention is that the mainstream banks we know and otherwise may love, like Chase and Wells Fargo and Bank of America, have been financing the private prisons that profit from family detention and mass incarceration. So Real Money Moves started off as a community of people upset about private prisons and looking at ways to keep their money away from that industry and instead to invest in communities in ways that's far more positive. That has expanded into a lot of work around just thinking about what money is doing in the world generally, beyond the question of prisons, as people start to see other options that they might have besides mainstream banks or financial institutions to really have their money match their values.
You yourself are a money manager. You take people's wealth and you tell them to invest in this stock and that stock or that bond or that company or whatever it may be. How did you learn about this and then decide, you know what, I'm going to do something about it?
I've been an activist all my life, Brad, and I grew up in Los Angeles and saw the stark inequalities in terms of wealth, access to education, housing, and saw that at the root of all that was really the economy, right? The way that money works in the world. So I got excited about investing as a tool for activism, and that's what's led me to be in the world world of social investing, or what some people call impact investing, for over 18 years now, and continue to feel like there's so much economic power that we collectively have. Whether you have $100 in the bank or $1 million, it's our money collectively that drives society. And that means the more that we can know where our money spends the night, the more that we can help drive that money towards projects that we can really be proud of.
I personally never thought about this, and I think I'm a pretty smart guy. I bet you, if you polled 10,000 people, 9,999 out of 10,000 people have no idea what their money does overnight in the bank. They just know it collects interest and they get 2% or 3% or whatever it is.
Right. So imagine if you knew that you got your 2 and 3%, but you also got to support low-income housing, or you also supported solar energy, or worker co-ops, right? These are the sorts of stories that come out of impact investing that are really exciting to people, right? And I think otherwise, money in general is a topic that's really scary, that investing can be really intimidating. It's kind of eating your Wheaties, right? It's something that you feel like you should do, but it's not necessarily fun. And I think impact investing puts the fun back into money, right? To feel like you get to really do positive things with your wealth, whether that's looking at how you bank or looking at other investment opportunities.
Can you give us a little background on the growth of private prisons, and how do they make their money, and how do the banks that we're putting our money in, that we have our checking accounts with, how do they enable all of this?
Private prisons, right? They have this really perverse incentive, which is the more bodies I lock up, the more money I make. They often even have to fulfill quotas from states to make sure they're locking up enough people. The way that that has intersected with family detention has been massive. So over 60% of immigrant detention facilities are privately run. People are making a profit off this, and a lot, right? So it's over $1 billion a year in ICE contracts that these private prison companies make, and that's over $5.5 million of taxpayer money a day. Right? So there's big money in this industry, and that means that decisions are getting made based on not human welfare, but how much money can I make off of these people that are being locked up. Then behind that, you have billions of dollars from the major banks, which is what enables these private prisons to do their day-to-day operations. And that's where activists all over the country have been working tirelessly over the last couple of years. So coalitions of groups through both Backers of Hate campaign and then Families Belong Together, who've gone to banks and said, enough is enough. You shouldn't be financing these institutions. And guess what? Just yesterday, Chase announced that they are going to end financing the private prisons. And we would love to see Wells Fargo and Bank of America make this pledge as well.
Does it make it more expensive for these private prisons to go out and raise money? Do they put these prisons out of business if all the banks in the world decide there'll be a bank somewhere that they can get money from, don't you think, or no?
Private prison companies actually already have what they call junk status, right? If these things are junk, right? It's the best investment term ever. And it's because their revenues are really volatile. They're so connected to government policy. In terms of the question of will someone come out and finance them, when you're talking about billions of dollars, you do need major banks behind you. And it makes me think about another very successful effort from an organization called Color of Change, which was the Glenn Beck campaign. You may recall Glenn Beck had been, I believe it was on Fox News, with a TV show known for lots of racist and anti-immigrant statements, and advertisers started to pull their money, right, of saying, we don't want our company brand affiliated with this. And you got to the point where the show only had ab rockers and maybe the random building block set or something that wasn't going to really capture mainstream attention, to the point where the show got pulled, right? Because they couldn't make enough money from the advertisers. So there's a point where, sure, you could say there's always a next advertiser, there's always a next bank, but to a point, right? And at a certain point, it just becomes unsustainable. And I think that's what we're looking to see with private prisons, and to really start to think as a country in the context of mass incarceration about more of a restorative justice framework and about being more thoughtful about sentencing laws in the first place. And then in the context of immigration, remembering that these used to be civil infractions.
They are still civil, but nobody knows that.
There you go.
Yeah, it's still civil. It's only a crime if you were ordered deported and then re-entered after a prior deportation without permission. But 99% of the people who are in detention right now are in detention for civil offenses, not criminal offenses. The only purpose of jailing anybody in an immigration civil offense is to ensure that they show up to a deportation hearing. And there are plenty of ways to ensure that somebody would show up to a deportation hearing other than put them in jail for crimes that were never committed.
But when you have private prisons who are making money off of every bed that's filled, it's no wonder they've spent over $25 million on lobbying over the past decade to continue with unjust laws around both mass incarceration and immigration, right? And that should not be the incentive set that's creating policy.
These private prisons need to be financed by the U.S. government, borrow money from big banks, and it's these same private prisons that are giving money to the congressmen, the senators, these banks that are giving money to the congressmen and senators to actually pass these bills so they can lend money to these prisons, and these prisons can put more and more people in jail, and it becomes a vicious cycle. And I guess what Real Money Moves is doing is saying we got to put a hammer down on this cycle, because other than that, it's just going to keep going and going. More and more people would end up in jail.
I was just going to say, what fuels that cycle is our money. Right. And I think that a lot of us are used to not feeling like we're wealthy. So what influence does our money have in the world? Well, it's our money collectively. Right. When we deposit our money into these banks, they then are making choices with our money. And that's where the opportunity to bank with institutions that really match our values, that care about our communities, changes the world.
Are you surprised that everybody doesn't even realize that when they put money in the bank that it's helping to support this system? They say, well, I can't possibly be financing a multi-billion-dollar business, or are they wrong?
I think we are more powerful than we ever knew. Right? And I think that's where our collective economic power really makes a difference. So I'm a registered investment advisor. That means I can provide financial education, but not financial advice, right? That what people should do with their finances is always a very personal decision. But as a starting place of just looking at the institutions people are working with, right? Do you know what your bank is up to in the world? One of the things on realmoneymoves.org is we have a map of community banks in every state in the country as options for people to just know about, right? That if you want to have a better sense of where your money spends the night, that can be a great place to go. If you have a financial advisor, just asking them, hey, are there any social investing options available on your platform? And how do I learn more about that? And then finally, there's this piece around accountability of our taxpayer dollars, right? That it's part of that vicious cycle is the money we're putting in the banks, but then also the government taking our tax money to give it to the private prison companies. And that's where we've been really excited to see recently calls by the House to have oversight hearings around the role of banks and private prisons. And is this a relationship really that the government should look to disrupt?
You mentioned that you can go to your website, Real Money Moves, and you can see some of the banks and what they're doing. I assume you say, well, these banks are doing positive things with your money. They're investing in social justice causes, in low-income housing, in protecting the environment. And I guess there's other banks that are not doing as nice things. They're investing in private prisons that are incarcerating people who haven't committed a crime, or incarcerating people with really minor offenses, separating families. What are the banks we should avoid?
Pretty much every big name bank, right? If a bank has not proactively said, we are using our assets to support communities, presume that they're not. One of the things we want to be careful about is to not play this whack-a-mole. There was a bunch of attention recently around DAPL on the pipeline, right? And that you had the same set of banks, right? Chase and Wells Fargo that were financing that. So it's not enough to just say, oh, great, now Chase or Wells is okay because they stopped on that one issue if they're still funding these others, right? So I think at the end of the day, the much more interesting and positive question is where can you go, right? And that's institutions like Amalgamated Bank, like Beneficial State Bank, like Self-Help Credit Union, right? That work across the country, that when you go onto their websites, you can find out where they're investing, right? And find that it's things that you can really be proud of, as opposed to if you try to find that information for the big name banks, it doesn't look that good, right? So that's where we're really excited, rather than just getting sad about what's happening with mainstream institutions, looking at where we can go and the great opportunities that exist.
The House of Representatives is starting to have hearings on this. They may never have had a hearing on this ever in the history of the United States. AOC announced on February 26th that she wants the House Financial Services Committee, along with Maxine Waters, who's the chair of the Financial Services Committee, to hold hearings on where these banks are loaning money to these private prisons. How much pressure do you think is this going to put on the banks to stop?
You are seeing that from politics to everyday activists to financial analysts, that there has been really alignment on the idea that these companies are bad news. And it doesn't take much to feel like, with so many different pressure points, that banks and other financial institutions are starting to really rethink their relationship to private prisons. It is critical to note that the statements made by Chase, right, were that it was also about the sectors that they're investing in and how they're really underwriting opportunities, and that this is a move that's influenced by a combination of factors, right? So I think that public pressure has really helped to bring this onto the radar, but it's also connected to the fact that this is just not a good business to be in, and that people are really starting to wake up to that.
As an investor, some people may say, well, I'm all for social change, but if I don't want to invest in bad businesses, maybe investing in a private prison is a really good investment for me. I can make a lot of money doing this. Are you saying that if you invest socially, you can make just as much money or even more money than just investing in across the board?
There are numerous studies, from Harvard Business School, from Deutsche Bank, from numerous mainstream institutions that will say that you absolutely can get the same returns, if not better. Because guess what? Companies that care about their communities tend to do better, right? They're not going to have people protesting, for instance, at hundreds of bank branches across the country, as you saw on Valentine's Day, urging the banks to break up with private prisons. So there is an element where social responsibility can just lead to stronger outcomes. That has been empirically proven. And then the other is just this element of don't cut off your nose to spite your face, right? That even if you did make a little bit more money, but it meant that they locked up your nephew, is that really a choice you want to make, right? So I think we have to think that investing is about building the future, and that you should build the things that serve you and your family and society.
Two of the stars from Orange is the New Black, Taylor Schilling and Alicia Reiner, and they're featuring a storyline on how private prisons work in real life. How important has their support been for your initiative, Real Money Moves?
In general, Orange is the New Black has been critical in raising questions nationally around private prisons. So in addition to Taylor and Alicia, there's also been people like Beth Dover and Natasha Leone and Kate Mulgrew who've been engaged on this. So it's really been great to see how much awareness and concern there is across the cast. In general, I think they've done a phenomenal job of really raising that awareness and in speaking out publicly to say, hey, this is something that touches so many families across the country, and that we have the ability to influence, right? Whether through our dollars or through policy initiatives.
Has this always been a problem with private prisons throughout the history of the United States, or is this a new phenomenon? Or is this something that nobody really thought about before, but now they're thinking about it simply because there's more incarceration than ever? What is now making this private prison system so important in divesting money? Why wasn't it important 10 years ago?
A couple things. Well, note that private prisons in general are a pretty uniquely American phenomena, right? So we are the global leader in terms of incarcerating people and then also doing it in private facilities. It's very bizarre. I think that there recently has been a lot more political will to address outcomes for Black and brown communities in the U.S. and that we've seen so many more progressive women of color in the government, which has been so exciting. And at the same time, private prisons are about 10% of the general national population in terms of who's held in prisons, but they're over 60% of detention centers, right? So that's where the recent outrage around family separation and immigration detention really drew attention to the question of who's profiting from all this. So it's been great to see this opportunity to raise these broader questions around private prisons and mass incarceration, both in the context of family detention, but in general, is something that is really antithetical to American values.
Tell me when your career went from you know what, I'm going to be an investor to I'm going to be a socially conscious investor?
So I started off in socially conscious investing and influencing over 150 billion of university endowment dollars, right, which is another community of institutions that generally care deeply about their communities. I was founder of an investor network called Tonic, which has about 200 investors globally and several billion dollars. And in general, have just continued to be really excited through my firm Candide Group about opportunities to support people who really want their investments aligned with their values. My full kind of career story is told through my book, so Real Impact, The New Economics of Social Change, which shares as an activist, right, why this was such a critical strategy. And I think a lot of people who may have said, oh, investments, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Well, it does when you start to think about it as a social change strategy. And what I was really excited to share with the book was this idea that all of us touch money, and therefore we're all investors one way or another and have an opportunity to change the world through the way that we touch money.
How do I break up with my bank? What am I supposed to do? Just clear out my money for the bank? And what do I do with it? Where do I go?
I actually did an article in Forbes that's precisely that, how to break up with your bank. And walks through the steps that a person can take. But what's amazing is how easy it is, right? That I think people often don't know that literally what you do is you call your bank and say, hi, I'm really concerned about your social environmental practices. I think it's abhorrent that you are financing private prisons, and I don't want to be a part of that. I'd like to close my account. And they'll say, are you sure? Is there any way we can win you back? And then you get to say, yes, can you promise to stop funding private prisons? Because then I'll stay. And then they'll usually say, okay, not sure I can do that. And you can still say, well, please tell your supervisor, right? That's why I'm choosing to leave. And here's the address where you can send me my money. And then you take that check and you walk down to community bank or credit union or whatever institution you feel really good about and deposit the money and open a new account. You may have some auto pays that you need to transfer over, but typically that's about it. So most people can finish it within about 30 minutes. It's more just a question of building up that courage and having the opportunity to really have your money reflect your values, right? I think most people really sleep better at night once they get that done.
We've taken our money out of the bad bank, funding the prisons. We found a very nice bank. They're investing in housing and environment and things that mean something to me. What do I do now? What do I do to start investing my money? How should I be thinking about this?
So the same way that you go see a doctor, you go see a dentist, financial advisors can be great, that it's a way to make sure you're getting professional support. There is a group called First Affirmative Financial Network where they identify socially oriented managers all across the country. So that can be a place to look if you're trying to just get some support and make sure that you're getting some professional help. There's also ways that you can go into savings products that are going to have a higher rate of return typically than the average bank, but that have a social profile. Another Forbes piece that I did is called Stop Giving Your Money to the Bank, which is basically about how there's this race between inflation and then what they're actually paying you in interest, right? And how to make sure that your money is actually growing when it's in the bank. In that article, I also give a number of potential alternatives that people can go to if they want their savings to be in more socially aligned products.
If somebody wanted to find out more about Real Money Moves and keep up with what's going on with social investing, where should we go?
If you follow @MoneyJustice on Facebook or @MorganSimon1 on Twitter or Instagram, I'm constantly putting out articles and ways that people can really continue to educate themselves on these issues. So definitely feel free to reach out and connect on social media. You can also get information from morgansimon.com.
And if we wanted to get your book, Real Impact, The New Economics of Social Change, where do we find that?
You can find it absolutely everywhere. It's on Amazon, it's an audiobook, it's on Kindle. It's also sold at many independent bookstores, which we always promote. Busboys and Poets in DC, ships across the country, and it's a wonderful place. On morgansimon.com, you'll also see, if you click buy the book, it'll show you numerous options of where you can get it.
Can you tell us a little bit about what your American dreams are, whether you've reached them, what you want to see America look like in 20 years from now?
My family immigrated from Greece and the Ukraine and Russia, and really seeking survival in having been persecuted as Jews. And I think America, like for so many immigrant families, was really this opportunity to reinvent and engage and to do it in community. And what I really love about America is truly our diversity and the opportunity to learn from each other. And the more that I'm able to work in solidarity with other immigrants, with other families that have been affected by mass incarceration, I really feel like I'm able to realize my potential and our collective potential of an America that's truly inclusive, that truly takes advantage of the diversity of our people.
Well, Morgan, Simon, thank you very much from Real Money Moves. It's amazing work you're doing, that you can feel so energized about socially conscious investing and to still be able to show good returns to your clients and still do good in the world. It's a wonderful job that you're doing. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Comments of the day. What do we got?
All right, our first comment of the day comes from Christine Bennett. This is actually about the last segment.
What'd she
saying,
say?
Brad, the last segment of the show is very informative. I learned so much.
That is very
Thank
true.
you.
I thank you. We're glad we do that, and I'm
Yes.
glad that you enjoy it and learn. I like that.
That's good, you
Yes.
know? Because these segments, they mean
Yes,
a lot. You
yes.
know, they're taking time out. All right, now our second one comes from Danny Contreras on YouTube saying, Brad is giving the news better than CNN.
Wow!
Oh!
I'm giving a run to Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have Wolf Blitzer, I always
Wolf
say.
Blitzer. I was thinking about Don Lemon.
Don Lemon.
Because you got the tan and stuff. You know, you could be his
Yeah,
brother.
I'm not in his league yet. I'm not in his league yet.
Nah?
Nah, maybe Anderson Cooper. I like Don over Anderson.
I do too.
Yeah.
Well, Anderson is cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I like 10 o'clock Don Lemon.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. It's my thing.
All right.
Right. When I'm home and I'm lying in bed, I'm not home every night, but when I'm home and lying in bed, 10 o'clock I know Don Lemon.
If you're not watching yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not watching
True.
yourself,
True.
right?
Sometimes I have a little bit of an ego. I'm like, screw Don Lemon. I'm going to watch my show again.
All right, our third one comes from Don Harriet saying, you can rest assured that when Brad says yes, it's yes. No questions asked. He's not guessing. He's not a guessing lawyer. He has the facts.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay.
You like that?
Yes.
All right. Our fourth one comes from
I was just
Marcia.
reading Wendy's. She's like Don and Chris Cuomo.
Oh.
So everyone's telling their favorite CNN anchors now.
They like
Yes.
Don though.
Yeah.
All right. Another one comes from Marcia saying, Brad just explains everything so we can understand. I love listening to him. Great lawyer.
Ah, thank you. I like
Nice,
that.
nice.
Yes.
And our last one for today comes from Wendy Brown saying, Brad is the best in the world.
Wow!
In the
world! Beat that!
Hot shot.
Yeah! All right. So I got some bad news.
Of course.
Best in the world is not going to be here tomorrow, but I will be here on Monday. So enjoy your 3-day weekend, and I'll see you all Monday live at 5:38 and 30 seconds.
Ooh.
That's when we'll start our show. So Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And now, conveniently located in Hartford, Stratford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK. 1-800-529-5465.
What are you doing?